Hey everybody, so we're back again in the shop here today. So yesterday we went over the oxyacetylene cutting torch. Today I want to go over another cutting tool that uses a lot of the same properties as the cutting torch. So if you remember from yesterday, the cutting torch, we were using oxyacetylene flame to heat up metal and then adding oxygen to it to oxidize the metal and blow it out. We're doing basically the same thing here with this tool today. This is called a plasma cutter. And a plasma cutter uses an electrical arc and compressed air to do the same thing that we do with chemicals here. So, plasma cutter, you can see we have plugged into 230 volt outlet, this one is, and we have compressed air coming into the machine. The machine has its own regulator on the back. It's regulated at 80 psi for what we're doing in here. On the front of the machine, we have our voltage settings, and so we have 40, 60, 80. The tip that I have in there right now is a 40 amp tip max. So that's as hot as we're going to go with that one. We have our cutting type here, and then just our on-off switch. So I click this thing on. Here's our actual cutting torch. Dino, you want to come in and take a look at this? Now it looks very similar to the oxyacetylene cutting torch. The only difference is that we're actually producing an arc on the tip here, and I'll show you. This thing is self-piloting, so it'll put the arc out there. So if I pull the trigger on it, you can see our arc here. Okay? That arc is super hot, but that's only a self-piloting arc for starting. We do need to have a ground on whatever we're cutting. It won't get super hot if we don't have the ground on there to complete the circuit. So we do have our ground clip connected on here also. Now, yesterday I cut a 1/4 inch piece of metal with the torch. Today I'm going to cut a 3/8 inch piece of metal with the plasma cutter. And the plasma cutter is really, really simple to use compared to the acetylene torch. The acetylene torch, we had all those regulators, all those knobs we were adjusting. It kept going out on me when I was trying to light it. Plasma cutter, basically you turn the switch on, plug in the air, set your amperage and go. And all you do is really just pull the trigger to get the machine to pilot. That's what makes it so nice. And the plasma cutter, you can do all kinds of really intricate work with. So I'm going to make a cut here with the plasma cutter. And my helmet on. Plasma cutter is going to be brighter than the oxyacetylene torch. Oxyacetylene torch, yesterday we were using a number 6 welding shade. Plasma cutter, you should use a minimum 10. It's the same arc light as an arc welder or a MIG welder the moment you start cutting. When you pilot it like that, it's not that bright, but when you start cutting, it gets much brighter. And that's why it's important to make sure you're wearing proper eye protection. Once again, long sleeve clothes, gloves, helmet. You know, and one thing I didn't go over the torch yesterday, you notice I'm wearing some pretty good shoes here. Where do all the sparks and molten metal go? Right down on the floor.
Me, not so much.
Yeah, Dina's standing way back there, so we're going to be safe. But yeah, in class, I don't let students do any kind of welding or especially torching. But even just tennis shoes, you know, sneakers. I mean, I've got tons of pairs of sneakers that I've had over the years that I've ruined because I've torched and it went through the top of the sneakers, just the canvas part. And goes down and gets in your sock, and then you hop around a little bit because it's super hot molten metal against your skin. That's why I'm wearing, you know, good shoes here and denim jeans. Okay, so we'll go ahead and make a cut here. I'm going to follow our torch. There we have our cut. Okay. So, once again, plasma cutter, super easy to use. I mean, some of the parts on the end are kind of expensive. If we start dipping those parts down into molten puddles of metal, that's bad because they plug up. but really a very easy cutter. Dean, I'll ask you if we can pan around back, around the other side of you here. You know, we have the plasma cam, which really all this uses is we have our plasma cutter right up there, and then our plasma torch right here. And it's computer controlled, so we can do all kinds of stuff. And you can see I was cutting a circle out of this piece here the other day, but you know, things that are much more complicated than that, like, you know, an M for Mr. McGlynn, can't cut enough of those. You know, we can do all kinds of crazy things on this, and you know, this is one of the things we're missing out on this quarter is everyone does a project on this thing usually, but hopefully when you come back to school, we're able to set something up again and do it in a different course. So, all right, everybody, that's it for today. Thank you.